This is called The Page. And you would still appear in the paper I held in my hand, rippling waves in the page before me, a dorsal fin of a shark circling my head, watching its prey. I could touch the page and still feel the rose I threw over the mahogany box in the November cold. The grass still covered with ice, crackling every time I took a step toward you. I could feel the pain in the paper, and I could feel the cold marble freezing my fingers. And the etched message in the stone could still take hold of me the way you did. I look at your writing now, where I could still feel in your writing the blood rush, and I could feel your breath on my neck, feel the fist jumping out from the page and hitting me in the face. I could feel it. I would feel 1,000 wars fought and won on your page, in your words. I could feel your hot breath pushing against my neck. I could feel your hands taking my shoulders, throwing me back in the chair. I would look at your paper and see out the window the masses rising, rioting in the streets. I can feel the tide rising from your thoughts. What do you possess? What have you been through to give you such a gift? I look back at the page, and I begin to feel your hand from under the page, from in the desk, razor in hand, shoving up through the fiber, slicing at the air, trying to desperately get to me. And I get up from my chair, walk over to the bathroom, almost like memorization. I feel nothing but the drive you felt. In the mirror, there are cuts on my face. Thank you. Look at this thing.
How do I get this to stay up? Sorry.
Hi. See if I can memorize one. I could hold the mic. Well, it's stuck with multiple page phones, but I'll see what I can do with holding it. How about that? Let's see how that. We'll try this one. This poem, I can't use my hands and animate. This is called Burning Building. This is what you don't allow me to say. These words I utter are a plea for help, and you tell me you want to be the hand that pulls me from the burning building. And every time I try to be rescued, you turn your back and walk away. So I will rescue myself this time again, and I wonder if I should stop trying and allow myself to perish in the flames. Now all I have to do is sit and wait for another disaster to consume me, and sitting in silence is exactly what I'll do. Why do you tell me one thing and do another? Why do you run away when I need you most? I'm stepping over the wooden beams now. The flames are all around me. Here, look at the blood dripping from my arms. Here, look. Smell my flesh burning. This is what you do. I do not walk away from this unscathed. I never do. But now that I wait for my next burning building, I know that I will never allow myself to enter it. Why can't it be easier to perish? I try, and every time, at the last minute, my figure steps over the charred remains and saves me. If only there were no more burning buildings. If only I didn't have to save myself all the time. If only I could feel free just this once. If only I could feel safe with you just this once. If only your words weren't empty promises. If only your words weren't the burning building. for drinks last week. I knew her in high school, although we weren't close friends then. In those days, she needed therapy. Had problems with drugs, I think, or else it was family problems. I was a bit insecure myself, shy, meek, scared of life. Since those days, we matured. Now we're more independent, self-confident, self-assured women. It was good to see her again. She just came back from camping in Australia. Although physically I had gone nowhere, we both had our stories to tell over a bottle or two of wine. And we gossiped. She told me of a handsome Australian man she fell for. I told her of the roller coaster I had for a romantic life. And we laughed. And we gossiped, but then that gossip changed. Her voice lowered and sounding stern, but quiet. She told me of how a man broke into her apartment one night last summer and he tried to rape her. And after kicking and screaming in her underwear, she managed to break free and her attacker escaped. She told me they found the man and the trial is scheduled for later in the month. As she sat there with a wine glass in her hand, looking so confident, as if she knew she won this battle. Trying not to sound corny, I told her I could give her a hug, and she leaned on my shoulder, and she cried, hiccuping as she tried to catch her breath. They would make her recount everything on the stand, she said, and the defense lawyers would try to make her sound promiscuous because she slept alone in her underwear. I told her I would go with her to the trial. I told her she was winning by speaking out. Self-assured women, confident women. How confident are we supposed to be? He's like, forget it, I'll just move. Thank you. This is a short one. These are, I don't like the pressing around here. This one is called The Martyr the Saint. They gave their daughter the name of the patron saint of television. And television's been the one thing she always hated about him. Or was it the drinking that he needed more than her? The business has gone bad. I'm a failure. I'm not a man. He said he respected them. And then he'd call her a $20 whore from Vegas. And the mother would hold the child, the saint, the pure angel, hold her eyes and hope she couldn't hear. I know, it's a servant, and I'll make them happier. I swear, I'm trying to like, this one is called Holding My Hand. When we're walking in stride together down the streets, and our feet pump out the same rhythm, and our shoulders are almost touching, and our hands brush up against one another for one brief moment, and he reaches over and takes my hand. When he slides his fingers around mine, and I feel him move across the palm of my hand, well, no one knows what it feels like when his fingers curl and hold me tight. Well, it feels like pop rocks. It feels like when that candy is sliding down my throat after I let it explode on my tongue, and it's still tingling, and no one knows I'm eating this, and no one knows this feeling, and this is my little secret. And I feel this feeling like never before, and it makes me want to laugh and cry. Because no one around the room knows this feeling. They don't know that I'm eating these Pop Rocks, and no one knows the feeling when he's holding my hand. Do I have a working mic? Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh no. This one is called Mixing Metaphors. A heart is supposed to mean romance, but the deep dark red suggests lust. The Cupid suggests true love anew, but a child only knows dependency. Love hits you like a ton of bricks, and you only hurt the ones you love. I keep hearing all of these conflicts, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. And I'm mixing my metaphors now, like I'm mixing my cocktails on a Saturday night. Throw love in with vodka and lime and a little Cointreau and you have an absolutely perfect martini. Well, at least that's what I hear, so I keep drinking and mixing and drinking and trying. You know, I've heard that for an added kick, keep in the love, but just add a splash of lust. You know, the way that deep red heart of romance suggests so much more than candy and flowers. Because really, when it all comes down to it, when you get all these metaphors together, even though they all seem to mean so many different things, well, when you get all the right martini recipe together, every ingredient is so necessary. Lust and love and all that other good-tasting stuff that goes down so easy. Every ingredient is necessary in that perfect drink because everything seems to come together so well, and everything suddenly means so much. Even if it's only a drink, and even if it's only a cheesy metaphor. I have to preface this one for people who have not heard it before and say this poem is not about a romance. It's called Have No Backbone. I tried to put on the show for you, but no matter how good an actress is, she cannot become her parts. I tried to show that I loved you. I tried to act as if I cared, but I really didn't give a damn. Not about you. And so I hid it. I hid my feelings, suppressed my emotions, and I acted like your daughter. I feel nothing, so I go through the motions, and it hurts me to think that I really don't have a family. The flashbacks kill me, and so I do my best to forget and to smile when I am told, when I really want to cry, because I can only smile for so long, and I really want to leave. But the thought of the curtain closing hurts me more than playing the part, so don't worry, the role is still filled. For as long as I do not have a backbone, and as long as I do not have a family, I will act. Emotional. This one's a long one, and it's called Expecting the Storming. You know how you want a popsicle and you want it for the longest time, and you don't even know what it's going to taste like when you get it, and then you finally get it, and it tastes oh so good. And you have some of it, and you want to save it so you can have it later, but then you realize that in order to keep the popsicle from disappearing, it has to stay in the freezer. I mean, it has to stay in the freezer in order to survive, that it was meant to be cold forever, or consumed. It was either one way or the other. They taught you that back when you were little. You can't have it both ways. You can try, and it might be fun at first, but everyone knows it'll hurt later on. I think what I liked the most about us was the theory of romance. No, wait, that wasn't it. It was the fact that this was forbidden, that this was quote-unquote not supposed to be happening. But I like the idea of being with you. I would travel across the country to see you. The thought of you and the times you have behind everyone's backs, those times were like poems to me. And maybe looking back, we weren't technically together, even though we couldn't tell anyone. But it was still nice for me to fantasize. And what it would get me. And maybe my problem is that it was all in my head, and maybe I didn't realize the novelty would wear off for you, like you were just maybe like the average American, and after 20 seconds of watching a television show, you'd want to change the channel with the remote on the armrest of your lazy boy chair. I didn't know you were a popsicle that would melt if you were exposed to any sunlight or any heat at any time. I didn't know you had problems. Don't we all? But I didn't know that that you might be going to a psychiatrist or staying on medication. I didn't realize how bad your problems were. I didn't know you were a snowman that I made in the backyard of my house in the winter when I was little. A snowman that came fully equipped with a carrot nose, like Pinocchio. No, wait, like you. A snowman that had no hair, like you. That had rocks for eyes, like you. And yeah, that snowman melted with spring, like you, and maybe I should have learned my lesson from that damn snowman. I remember how little kids used to build snowmen in the winter, and they didn't seem to mind the snowman eventually going away. I hated the cold, so I didn't play in the winter and the snow as much. Maybe in playing those little games, everyone else learned a lesson. I should expect a stoning for that I'm about to receive for telling you that I know what you have done, and I want the rest of the world to know it too. I will expect the stonings with time. I've been getting used to the punishments for telling the truth, even when people don't want to hear it. So, thank you for getting my hopes up and then blowing them away with one breath from your lips, like anyone would do with table salt spilled on the counter. Because I think I needed to learn that lesson. And in a way, for now, I only have you to thank for it. Thank you. This one it's called The Gift of Motherhood. And this one was written because I read the Letter to Women message from His Holiness Pope John Paul II, where it was talking about it was so valuable for women, not having jobs, but being moms, being able to have kids, because that's how we keep our species going. So I wrote this piece. So I was sitting in on a meeting with the other managers, and we were talking about presenting our project at the upcoming trade show, and our boss said, "Oh, none of us will have to go, I'll just hire some dumb..." And then he looked at me with my long blonde hair. "Some model to demonstrate it instead." And this is the same guy who has a photo in his office of a woman in a negligee grabbing her crotch. I mean, it's not even a tasteless photo. I wonder what he'd think if he came to my office and saw that there was a Playgirl magazine sitting on my desk. One of my supervisors even kept telling me to go out and get lunches for everyone, or to pack stuff for him. I finally had to tell him no. I said, "Why don't you ask John? He's been here less than me. He could do it, can have him do it for you." But he never did. I look around and I think, I'm the only woman here. Why is that? Thank you. This piece is called Timing is Everything. Timing is everything, Just when you say you've had enough and you want to say that you're ready to wave that white flag and step out of the ring and stop playing the game and stop feeling the pain because you're numb, that's when, for a brief moment, something wonderful happens and reminds you why you live and reminds you of what hope and joy and even love is. And suddenly breathing is no longer at shore, and suddenly nothing is at shore, and suddenly there is no pain, and suddenly you remember what it's like to be alive, and you start to like it. Well, that's when they pull the rug out from under you, right at that moment, so that you can fall to the floor and then feel the biting sting of pain hurt that much more. Timing is everything, They do it that way on purpose, because they can't let you go on feeling hope and not feeling pain. This is their key. It's all in the timing. I'm sort of on those different moods. The short one called A Stand-Up. Too many things bombard us. We scan from channel to channel, eyes darting. First war, destruction, then a weight loss commercial. I know you think society is ludicrous, and it is, but don't you see that when I watch that TV screen, all I can think is that I'm not thin enough. I've tried to make things right with us. I've tried to bring us one glimmer of happiness. I've tried to turn off that media mudslinging. I've tried to make things a little bit better, even if it's only in our bedroom, even if it's only for one night. And you look away and think that I'm hopeless. But I'm grasping at whatever straws are left. Thank you. I got 3. This is a really short one. It's like 2 haikus. And they both have war in the title. This is called Civil War. The Confederates are winning the battle, but I know the North will win the war. And all they'll get is a ravaged battlefield. The Civil War is raging inside of me, but I'm tired of fighting from within, when all I want is a revolution. I know that was a strange short one. This is called Let the War Begin. I get the 2 war-timed ones. They're not related. Let the war begin. My silence is my only choice. My silence is my weapon, as it is with you, as it is with all of us. To go against all instinct and not fight, this is my weapon, to keep us alive and to bury the truth. This is the way that I keep our sanity, but lose mine. Isn't that the way it always goes? Me giving in first. You say this isn't what you want, but your actions speak novels to me. I've read that book before. Nothing is pure when you destroy purity. Nothing is sacred when there is no God and no hope. I have lost my battles, and now I need new defenses. I've thrown down the gauntlet. Let the war begin. Because I couldn't end on something like that, I've got a brand new piece that is in the 2008 Poetry Wall calendar from Scars Publications. A bunch of other poets are in it, and I managed to cram this one in because there was an image of 2 statues outside, and I thought, I'm going to write this and just stick this in there with it. And this is called Cast in Stone. I've searched a millennia for you, and my love for you will survive through the ages. And if they cast us in stone, it will only cement my love for you, for all to see and admire. Because even if the elements chip away at our facades, the marble will smooth over time, and my soul will still flourish, being frozen by your side. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everything. And if people are interested in a copy of Literary Magazine, if they want to submit stuff, I've got like samples that people can have for an email address or whatever. And thank you so much again. Thank you.
Jennifer Janet. The incarnation of Midwest.